Welcome back to the 30-day Jiu-Jitsu Mobility Challenge. Today we're focusing in on guard retention. You will need a wall today, so make sure clear out some space and find a wall. So the first thing that we're going to do though, won't need the wall. We're going to use that in a moment. We're going to come into our 90-90 position. I want you to start with your left leg, almost said right, left leg forward, and your right leg back into a 90 position. Now here, the common mistake is for people to want to bend over, but what I want you to do is stay nice and tall, and then I want you to rotate away from the leg that's back. So in our case, we're rotating to the left, and we want to try and get square with our left leg out in front of us. So nice and tall. Really want to be tall and rotate. So this is like the 90-90 tall rotate, the way I like to remember the cues for this. And realistically, we don't want to be bending over toward our front leg. We want to be staying tall, and you should be feeling this in your groin, even in a little bit of glute, the high glute here. Oh, almost lost my mic pack. Clip it back on. Just stay tall and rotate. And while I'm fixing my mic, focus in on breathing in through your nose and out through your mouth or your nose. This is not to be confused with a slightly different version that we use where we ratchet our back leg and lean forward and everything like that. We've done that bad boy before, but we're focusing in on the 90-90 tall rotate today. I want you to push your back knee into the mat and see if you can almost hover yourself up on your back knee and your front knee. So really engage your knees into the mat, and this is going to reinforce this mobility drill and take it from a static drill to a more active. The reason that I don't like static work is because it's been shown in the literature that you get more bang for your buck when you're using active mobility. Anything that involves active mobility are things that involve muscle contractions, things that involve our contract, relax cycles, or any form of mobility movement. Alrighty. Okay, so now we're going to swap over. Your right leg out in front of you, left leg comes back in the 90. Up on your fingertips here and rotate away from your back leg. Come square with your front leg, which is now your right leg, and commit to engaging your back knee on the mat and your front knee. Use your hands to balance. Try and get as much weight off of your hands as you can. You should feel this a little bit in your lumbar, your groin, and your glute. I was actually listening to an old episode of the Daru Strong podcast. Shout out to Phil Daru. And he was interviewing a Dr. Kickass, which many of you might have seen on Instagram. Definitely check him out. And he was talking about the literature involving jiu-jitsu and mobility. And he was basically saying that, I mean, in his opinion, it's all well and good if you're Gumby flexible and you can do rubber guard, and you've probably seen those guys or trained with them at your gym. But if you can't express strength in those ranges of motion, then it isn't really all that beneficial, and it can actually be quite dangerous. So you want to be strong in your full expression of range of motion. That's why I don't focus in on trying to get full splits or basically hang off the tissues for this Jiu-Jitsu Mobility Challenge. I'm more focused in on the teachings of people, like Dr. Kickass or a mentor of mine, a mentor from afar, that is, Kelly Starrett, who focuses more on getting to your full range of motion, but being strong there. So that's my TED talk for this mobility follow along. Okay, let's come up to the wall. Now we're going to be using the wall. We're going to go into, you guessed it, couch stretch. So I'm going to start intermediate straight into level 2. Now, as a reminder, couch stretch, very important. You keep your glute engaged. My glute was actually, I was waffling. So keep your glute and come up to level 3 with me. Hopefully I'm not cut out of my framing here. It does seem a little bit low, but hopefully you can see my beautiful face. Now, as we're up here, reminder, keep your rib cage in and down. We don't want to be banana backing. A way you can test that is put one hand around your sternum, one on your navel, and don't let the space between your hands change. If you bend back, the space opens. If you crunch in forward, space closes. This is a good little cue that people use for bracing practice, for powerlifting, particularly squats. So you can use that one if you want, but just keep your rib cage in and down. Glutes engaged, should feel this up in your hip flexor. And if for some reason this is the first mobility follow along you've seen from me, not sure why you're dropping in on what, day 19 or wherever we're at, but couch stretch is definitely my favorite go-to stretch for jiu-jitsu. That's why we can't get enough of it. I don't apologize for having it only 2 days ago. Keep your glute engaged. Give yourself some love taps on your butt there. Rib cage in and down. If you need to come in and out of this position, feel free, but ideally we're getting as much time in couch as we can. Okay, we're gonna swap over. Now, ideally I want you up on the instep of your foot, but my ankle's still a bit sore. I sprained it a few weeks ago now, but it's still a bit sore. So I wanna stay up on my toe, and I'm gonna come straight up into level 3 here. Feel free to spend some time hanging out down in level 2 or even level 1 if that's where you're at. If you haven't been able to progress through level 1 during this 30-day challenge yet, that's okay. Ideally, I have everyone at least at level 2 by now, but that is totally fine. Just meet yourself where you're at. Maybe you did some deadlifts recently. I did deadlifts pretty recently. So my hip flexors are still a bit tight from that. Just some heavy triples. Just a reminder, keep your glute engaged. While I'm waffling on with non-seculars, keep your glute engaged. Give yourself a nice tap on the glute to make sure that it's engaged, turned on. The reason that we do that, as a reminder, is to make sure we're really engaging our hip flexor and to turn this static movement into an active movement through that isometric contraction of the glutes. That's the focus here. Nice and tall. A reminder to keep your breath volume consistent in through your nose. Breathe deep into your hip flexor here and out through your mouth. The final exercise today, as a bit of a teaser of what's to come, is actually really excited about it. I haven't shown it yet, so it's a brand new one and plays into a jiu-jitsu specific drill for guard retention. So this one, I can't remember exactly where I got it from. I think I got it from I'm not sure, but I think some sort of jiu-jitsu YouTube channel. So this one is not a Kieran Lefebvre original, but I mean, no one really owns any mobility movement. Can't copyright mobility. But no, I like this drill. I think it's cool, so I want to show it to you guys in case you haven't seen it before. So let's come out of couch and I'll show you this mobility drill. So I'm going to be facing the wall here, so apologies for showing you my back, but we're going to start in almost like our Olympic squat position, but a little bit further out from the wall. What we're going to do is you can use X's. I've seen this done with people putting like sticky tape X's on the wall as indicators. I'm not going to do that, but come up against the wall and we're going to almost hip escape out. My left leg shoots through this middle. I lightly touch the wall and then I bring myself back and do the other side. So it's a combination between like a guard retention drill, a little bit of shrimping, a little bit of guard retention, a little bit of sit through as well. And once you get the hang of it, you can be more fluid. If you need to cheat a little bit like I do, you can push off against the wall with your hands if you need to. But this really engages your guard retention technique in a solo drill. So I'm going to do a few more of these, see if we can get 10. I'm a little bit rusty with this one actually. Should have practiced before filming. Be as slow and controlled or as fast and as explosive as you want. I like to do these a little bit more controlled. Couple more. And I'm gonna leave it there. Whew. All right. Hopefully you have a bit of a sweat on today, and I hope you enjoyed guard retention number 6. Stay tuned for tomorrow's session in the 30-day Jiu-Jitsu Mobility Challenge.